Well, hopefully, broadcast today, we're going to be talking a little bit about our reaction to the royal wedding. And also, we're going to be having, depending on how much time we have left, some really good cleaning tips from the viewers. So I'm looking forward to that big time. I always like it when we can do these things and enjoy ourselves. So, welcome. And for those of you who are new, thank you for being here. We always appreciate it when we have people standing by. Hey there, Jamie. Before we start, what we like to do is just have a few updates on things for our viewers that are regulars. They like to know how everybody's doing. So that's how we normally start the broadcast. And today, we're going to continue our thoughts and prayers for a couple of people. Erin continues to keep me informed, and the last I heard, she's doing fairly well, but waiting to find out if she can have this operation or not. Hi there, Jody. And Lauren is doing great guns. I think she was moving rooms, if I'm correct on that, Jody. She'd managed to got herself a new room to move to, so that was exciting. I think she had um, a wish to do that. And Jody, I know that you have had a difficult week again and that you're going in for an MRI, which is always a scary thing to do. So we wish you well on that one. The last I heard, Kerry sounded like she was pretty much back on track again after the little problem that she had. So I'm really happy to hear that she's got herself back together. And Becca, from what we understood, left her job. So she's going to concentrate on getting through her grieving as best she can. So I think that's absolutely awesome. So let me just see what else we've got here for everybody. Birthdays. Let me do that next. Birthdays, we have got Angela's coming up on the 25th. And by the way, I did hear from her today. She's also possibly going to be moving as well. So just while I think about that, excuse me. Let me have a look here. All right, so Beth, just to do in terms of our congratulations for the week, Beth won her badge. For those of you who saw that, she actually won the badge by averaging 11. I think I said 1,000 categories. Oh, Jody, could you get Jody to make a note of that? Just so that P brain here doesn't forget. So Beth's been counting her calories and making sure she eats enough. She's got the opposite problem to the most of us. She actually needs to eat enough, and she did a really great job, so she won a badge for that. Sakura was starting CrossFit, and I forgot to ask her how she's doing with that last time that she popped in. I think she popped in on Friday evenings, but I forgot to ask. And we'll see anybody else as they come up. Has anybody else got anything that they need to add to our congratulations list? And let me put that. Anything particular? Nope. All right. So basically, how's everybody doing? Anything general that you'd like to update the viewers on, just so that I can do that? Because quite a few people now listen to the replays, which is great. So if there's anything, Jamie, we don't hear much from you. So is there any news from your side that we can let people know about? I did hear from Oz this week. I'm trying to remember what, you know what he's like. He just cracked me up. I can't remember what he did, but he made me laugh as usual. But he is still, I think, looking for a job so he can go back to Indonesia because he really was enjoying himself there. So that's what he's doing. All right. So Jamie says everything's good and she's been busy working. We love that. And so I thought before we get on to the second subject, let's start with the first one, but we'll do a time check first. And the time that I have here, Jody, let me just have a look here, is, wow, call that 5 minutes. Boy, I did that quickly today. Uh, I can't believe how quickly I did that. Is that possible? I guess it is. So let me have a little think here in terms of what we've got going. We are going to be talking a little bit about the royal wedding, or a little bit more than a little bit, depending on how everybody enjoyed it. And then we're going to go into talking about cleaning, which I think is something that everybody probably has to do. And first of all, did you enjoy the royal wedding? Did everybody watch it? And while we're waiting for people to reply on that one, I just wanted to welcome anybody who might be ghosting. I am aware that some people watch the broadcast with actually not joining in, and that's fine with us. We're delighted that you're in the background there somewhere. But if you have a case study, in some story that you would like us to discuss, or a subject that you'd like me to discuss, then please write to me at dearmamasal@gmail.com. And let me know whether I should use your name or not. I'm quite happy not to use a name, but sometimes, people find that I do. And it would normally be your first name that I would do it with. All right. So both Jamie and Jody saying they enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. All right. So let me not give you my views first. Let me hear what yours are. What did you enjoy most about it? I found out indirectly whilst we were doing this broadcast that I really do have an eye for detail that I hadn't given myself credit for. There were a couple of times whilst I was watching it that I was saying I was watching it with Jody and Lauren. We all sort of formed a little group and watched it together. And it was so funny because I found out that, for example, if you watch the guy on the cello, he was just amazing. But I said, "Did you see his socks?" And everybody's going, "His socks?" And I said, "Yeah, did you see his socks?" Because, his socks were really quite something. He was so beautifully turned up for the royal wedding, and then he had these great socks on. And I thought, talk about body language, how to tell people about yourself without, spoiling the event. And I thought it was wonderful. Um, and the other thing was that when when Harry put Meghan into the car, my next question was, "Did you see the number plate?" And I thought, and people are going, "What?" I said, "Did you see the number plate on the car?" "No." I said, "Well, it was 190518. He had had a number plate made of the date of his wedding." It's so cool, right? And I understand that the bouquet of flowers that she carried with her were picked by Harry from Princess Diana's garden that morning. So he went and picked flowers, and I don't know about you, but I found that really touching. Okay, so Jody says every aspect was so beautiful and grand. The way Harry looked at Meghan, I'm going to be in a wreck here, aren't I? When she was walking down the aisle. Yeah, I bawled, and I'm still bawling. I think it was the way he cried. I really felt he gave men permission to be that much in love. And that was the message I got overall. I have to admit, although it's difficult for me to do that, I thought Prince Charles did a great job. And I heard this morning that Meghan actually asked him whether he would do it. Um, As soon as she heard that her father wasn't gonna be able to be there, apparently she asked Prince Charles if he would stand in. So that was interesting, but I thought, overall, the person that really impressed me in a very quiet, unassuming way was Meghan's mother. How did she not cry? And I say that because I'm still crying, half the world's still crying, and she didn't cry, but she looked so happy with what was going on. Yeah, I thought Charles did an incredible job, not just in the way he took her up the aisle, but the way that he treated Meghan's mother publicly. I don't know what he did behind the cameras, but publicly, he did an incredibly caring, all-inclusive job, I thought, with her mother. I did ask why she wasn't in the front pew, and it may be that she had a better aspect to look at them from the third pew up. Yes, it was the way he extended his hand to her mother, and the mother put her hand out thinking that he was gonna shake it, but he didn't want to shake it, he wanted to lead her, to the registry so that they could sign the papers. Yeah, I thought that was really cute. Now, there were obviously many, many magical moments that we will come across, but there were a few that got my blood boiling. I don't know about you, but I think it should be illegal to, chew gum in a royal wedding. There were a couple of people I'm going, "You walked into St. George's Chapel chewing gum? Really?" Um, it was just like, I don't think so. Now, I didn't see it, but I think it was Lauren that noticed it, or Jody, I can't remember which, but one of the guests walked in and went to go and pick some of the flowers off the beautiful bouquets of flowers that they had around the archways and things. They were put there specially. I don't know if you noticed that, but they weren't natural. They were actually put there. And somebody was busy about to pluck one of the flowers, and perhaps apparently a policeman walked forward and told her that might not be a very good idea. I think it was one of the gum chewers as well. I must admit, I was surprised at David Beckham, that he was chewing gum, and I'm going, "Really?" Now, what did you think of Fergie? Let me see. I definitely gave Mr. and Mrs. Dress the right way for the occasion, behave the right way for the occasion type award to George Clooney and Amal. I thought they looked the part. I thought they acted with great dignity. I was very upset at the beginning, funnily enough, with Oprah, until I realized that she was totally out of her depth. When I say totally out of her depth, she walked in and tried to sit in the very far back row, and they kept ushering her forward, and what I realize now is that she was totally confused because um, she had a special ticket that she was up with the royalty, in that area, and I think she just totally didn't understand that, yeah, and didn't think she warranted that. So I thought at first I thought she was, I don't know why, I thought she was either drunk or on something, and then I thought, "No, if you weren't expecting to," like, everybody in there was a celebrity, the fact you were one of the 600 that got invited turned you into a celebrity immediately, but the fact that she was up there with, you know, the Queen and Prince Philip and the family, I am certain just stunned her. So, yeah, but, when I look at Fergie, she's never gonna learn to just play the part, is she? She had to be waving to people and doing everything and, really sort of taking a lot of, attention. And that is why the royals had a problem with her. It's like you can it I mean, even George Clooney and Amal, they did acknowledge people just quietly as they walked along, but they didn't sort of go, "Yay!" and then run across and go and, it was like there is a difference in how you do it. Does that make sense? There is one way that has decorum, and there's another way that just, really. So I did hear that Fergie was invited to the wedding, but not to the event at Frogmore. And she was pretty upset with that. Yeah, she did look like she was on, and we're not sure what she was on, but yeah, she was pretty hyper. Way too much caffeine, whatever it was. Mm. The other thing is, did you notice how many women were really not walking well on their heels? Now, I'm not sure if that walk that they had to do was across cobblestones, but they did not look very steady on their feet, a lot of them. They looked like they um, were just not walking properly. If you're gonna wear very high heels, learn to walk in them. That's my thing. All right, what else did I have a problem with? Let me think. Oh, Pippa's dress I had a problem with. Dear, oh dear. Um I don't know if you remember, it was a sort of a light green thing that had flowers, appliqued onto it, which was very pretty, except the last two flowers were literally positioned here and here. And it was like, really? you know, it was like, I don't know who designed that. I thought that was inappropriate somehow. Um, and it was just like, no. And so when you saw it from a distance, it actually, well, I don't have to tell you what it looked like, but it didn't look. Yes, Jody classless was, yeah, that would be a word for it. Um, and it was just like tasteless rather than classless, I guess, for me. Um, it was like, I know that was a very expensive dress. But did somebody not see it from a distance and go, "Oh no, maybe that's not so appropriate," or get those 2 last flowers off that dress? I would have said. Anyway, I didn't like that. Uh, but overall, I think the memory. Hi, Sharon. We're just talking about the wedding. Um, I thought overall the wedding was priceless. And I said today that I only wish we could watch something like that every day in our lives instead of watching, who on the news. If we could watch, yes, it wasn't Megan's Veil epic, and the concentration on Harry's face when he's trying to lift it and not mess with the tiara or not mess with her hair. The concentration that young man had, just it was like he was so scared to mess something up or lift the tiara. What did you think of the tiara that the queen chose? I thought it was a great choice for her, and it's not a much seen tiara either. And I thought it suited her beautifully. It obviously had more diamonds in it than we've had years. You wondered how many times he practiced. Yeah, I don't think he had that bit. You know, he was she probably said at this point, "You better lift up my veil," and he so probably went, "Oh, yes, fine." And then he went to do it, and it's like, yikes, what if I knock the tiara off? Yeah, I just thought it was magical. The concentration on his face just was amazing. I thought she looked a lot more together. You know, he was a wreck, bless his heart. And I thought she handled it all beautifully. I really, she looked happy. She she kept her emotions in check, but in a nice way. Oh, hi, Jonas. Sorry to hear you've not been well. We're just talking wedding stuff at the moment, so welcome. No, I say just, it's very important. It's a very important part of our life to be able to talk the wedding stuff, you know. Um, well, I hope you're feeling better soon, honey. So we just did you watch the wedding, Jonas? Or did you see the replay? I must admit that I tried to go to sleep beforehand so that I could get some sleep in before it, but I didn't, and so I ended up being awake all night. And then I managed to get a couple of hours sleep because I had to go house hunting, but, um, it was just like, really but I slept for 11 hours last night. It goes to show that I really was in need of some sleep there, which I thought was quite funny. Ah, lordy, lordy. All right, so let me think what else did I like about the I was delighted. Hi, Erin. I was delighted how many people they allowed into the forecourt of St. George's to, sort of, although they couldn't get inside St. George's, that they could be that close to the action. And when the vows were completed and they both said that I will, um, the roar that came from outside was just so cute, I thought. Um, so it must have been They must have had loudspeakers out there that people could hear. Hi, Boo. We're just talking about what did you like about the royal wedding, and what didn't you like in my case. Um, so what about the little bridesmaids? And and not having adult bridesmaids, just having the little ones. Charlotte really has this wave. She really enjoys waving to the photographers, doesn't she? Did you know that they all had Givenchy? Was it Givenchy? Who designed her dress? The bridesmaids' dresses were also designed by them. So you could imagine. Mhm. So now what about the choir, the gospel choirs? Yeah. What about the gospel choir singing "Stand by Me"? Did you enjoy that? Did you think that was a nice touch? Regardless of what the Queen and Prince Philip thought, which was pretty obvious they weren't really into that big time, but but I can understand why. And yes, apparently Sharon's right. Apparently the shoes all had their initials on them, so that they had a lifelong keepsake. Yes, the choir director and that hair that she had done, isn't that wonderful? The cellist, well, I was saying I thought he was mesmerizing, Jonas, but what mesmerized him nearly as much as his music, which I thought was just amazing, was his socks. It was just like, "Did you see those socks?" And I thought it was a brilliant bit of communication. I I can dress up really good for this sort of thing. Yeah. But those are my socks. The rest I rented, not the socks. A bit of pizzazz, yeah. And it wasn't like they were garish or anything. It was just like I thought it was very amusing. I could have listened to him forever as well. And I don't know about you, but when you're watching somebody as talented as he is, they go into a zone. Did you notice him just go into a zone? And it was just like, you almost felt that he could personally just zone out completely and not realize where he was. It was just amazing to watch him play, and I you know, I agree with you. I could have listened to him all for the rest of I think everybody could have listened to him for, a very long time. Now, what about the Baptist minister doing his, soliloquy on or sermon or whatever he was gonna we're gonna call it, on love? How did you feel about that? And again, the fact that the Queen and Prince Philip had a great struggle to even look like they approved. Yeah, it was a little long-winded, but it was his 15 minutes of fame, and he was taking it. That's how I felt about it. I like the look of the minister that had to sit behind him and who did not look at him at all. And you could just see his profile, and it was not happy. And he was just like, "You don't do this at a royal wedding." You could um, but I thought it was full of passion and full of love and full of, "I gotta get you 2 married off now." I just thought he had a very nice mix, a little long, but a very nice mix of different emotions. Mm. So let me think what else. Um, yeah, the way the 2 of them held hands for it felt like 90% of the service, and they didn't care whether they were meant to or not. I thought that was really cute. Um, and I did mention at the time that I had a feeling, and you'll forgive me for this, I had a feeling that in Megan, he has found his mother, a very strong woman with a heart of gold. I think that's what he saw. And to me, I hope he's right. And apparently, I read somewhere that when she was about to go out on that first blind date, that was the question she asked, "Is he kind?" That's what she wanted to know. I mean, I know his name and I know who he is, but is he kind? Was the question she asked. I thought that was really interesting. Well, I really got that sense. I don't know about you guys, but I got that sense when she was sitting there and the way he looks at her. Yes, Erin's saying here, I felt like a couple of things happened that wouldn't happen at a royal wedding. You're right. But they're not your typical royal couple either. They didn't mind showing affection to one another. Yes, and that's what I was saying. Nor did Harry choose perhaps to cry, but i- you know, but he did cry for so much of it. And what that must have been so difficult for him, to show that emotion, especially if you think about it, that when he was 12, he was told to walk behind his mother's casket and don't you dare cry. Your job is to walk in step with your father, and you do not cry. You do not show any emotion. Hi, Malin. All right, she didn't invite her siblings to the wedding. This is not kind. And to me, it's a bit of a red flag. Okay, so I would say that we only know half that story. I am pretty sure that the reason she had good reason not to invite them. That's my feeling. If I got remarried again, I probably wouldn't be inviting my sister either. And so, this is or I probably would, knowing that she would refuse it. You know what I mean? So to me, she invited her father. But people don't not invite, especially at a time like that, not invite their siblings just because they're mean, horrible people. That there is an issue that we don't know. I don't know about anyway. But that's okay. Thank you for the input. Any other input like that? Yeah, something, I'm just a great believer that I like to know both sides of the story if I can before I judge that. I just know that, that everybody I know that wouldn't invite a sister, there's a really good reason. Okay, we're about to go into cleaning tips, so that's okay, Boob. So you can watch it later if you choose to. Yeah. Erin, let me know if I can repeat that out loud. Wow, no, Jonas is saying, did you see the photo of Meghan posing outside Buckingham Palace as a tourist 20 years ago? Pretty funny to see how far she's come. Yes, um, I think it's amazing rags to riches story. It's a true princess fairy tale, isn't it? Oh, so Sharon is saying that from memory, after the engagement, the half sister got a little loose lipped. And that is something that's a no-no, once you're part of the royal. And they probably didn't want to give them, yeah. Anyway, but I heard somewhere, and I don't know if it's true, that the palace came up with the original guest list, and apparently Henry walked in and said, Harry walked in and said, I ma'am, I think he calls his grandmother ma'am. I think he has to, right? I think they're taught from birth to call the queen ma'am, so they never call her grandma or in public, or Charles never calls her mum because they don't ever want that in public. So they're always trained just to call her by her official um, designation, if you like. But I believe he said, I don't recognize anybody on the list. And from what I read, then the Queen turned around and said, and if that is true, rip it up and start again. You put your list on. It's your day. Yes, Jodie's saying Meghan was ethereal. I thought apparently Charles picked the music. They asked Charles if he would pick the music because of his knowledge of classical music. And I thought that was an incredible piece of music to walk into because it really suited her, right? It was she did look like she should have wings or something. So yeah, it was really interesting. In fact, all the music that was played by the cellist was wonderful, um, and very fitting, I thought. So, and lots of little things to acknowledge and remember Princess Diana. Did any of you, were any of you stunned how much? I know I shouldn't be surprised, but I was. How much Diana's elder sister, that was Lady Fellows, who read one of the pieces, how much she sounded like Diana. I actually, for some reason, wasn't looking at the screen in that moment when she started to talk, and I just about had a conniption because I thought I was listening to Diana, and I thought I'd lost it. And then I looked and realized that's Diana's sister, Lady Jane Fellows. Yeah, I couldn't remember her. I knew that she was Lady Fellows. I couldn't remember her name. Thank you, Jodie. But boy, she sounded like Diana. I was quite shocked. All right, so any other comments before we move on? I didn't expect to cry that much, obviously. And if you could only if you could only have seen one bit of it, which bit are you glad that you saw? Which is the bit that you saw and went, "Hi there, Chip." Um, which bit did you see and say to yourself, "I'm so glad I watched that," even if it was on the replay? I was very impressed at how Megan had been trained to do the waving to the crowds. Did you notice how good she was at that? Go left, right, look up to make sure there's nobody, higher up that needs a wave. I thought she did a magical job. Yeah, for Jodie, it was the way Harry smiled as she walked down the aisle. Yeah. It was the one page boy twin that you saw over Megan's shoulder when I was trying to work out whether he was yawning or just loving the moment and photobombing the picture. I wasn't quite sure which he did, but it was very cute. Did you see that with his? I thought that was really cute. Of course, Charlotte doing her little wave to the photographers. I always love how she does that. She just has that down to an art now. Yeah, the groom's first look. Yeah. Yeah, I am too, as you can tell, Jodie. So, crying is allowed at this point. Um, and how many of you had a James Bond memory when he walked forward and opened the car door for Megan? Yes, it's funny. I have already mentioned that, Malin. Yes, that what struck me was the kindness of Prince Charles to Meghan's mum. I said that. He, and I'm quoting, he was very attentive to her and behaved like a complete gentleman, which of course he is, most of the time. But yes, I thought, although he didn't get to say anything, although apparently he was really funny when he did the speech at Frogmore, or so I've heard say, but he managed to communicate his great respect for her mum. Yeah. Where was there an empty chair? I didn't see the empty chair. I would imagine if there was an empty chair, then intentionally it would have been for Diana. That would be my guess. Um, I didn't see that. Yeah, they wouldn't have left an empty chair if it just somebody hadn't turned up. They would have filled it by somebody. Where was the empty chair? Did anybody else see it? Yeah, then maybe that's what they did. So it was closest to. Well, wait a minute. Was that at the beginning? Yes, what I'm saying is if it was next to William, where William and Harry sat, it might have been William's chair. In other words, after William, William and Harry sat on their own waiting for her to arrive. But when you think about it, once he had done his best man duties, he had to go back and sit in a seat. So that might have been the seat they left for him. All right, because he couldn't do the whole service sitting in the spare seat. That wouldn't have been right because they needed it for later. Sorry, Megan, you're just going to have to stand for a while because, William sitting there. No, they would have anyway, that would be my sense. Interesting. I'm sure that there were lots of conflicting reports about all sorts of things. You know what I mean? People can read so much into things when probably there wasn't any read. Oh, this here we go. Thank you. It's me, Valdo says the seat was simply kept empty so that Queen Elizabeth had a perfectly clear view of the proceedings from the second row. Wow, thank you. There was an empty seat on the right of William while he was seated. Yeah, we'll have to watch it again. Let us know, Sharon. My sense is, though, that they would, if they did have a seat that they left empty, it would have been that Diana should have been there and wasn't. And those boys, as you know, had so much time for their mother. Now, did you see the emerald ring? No, aquamarine ring that she was wearing when she got into the E-Type Jaguar. She was wearing it on her right hand, not her left. Because I went, wow, have a look at that ring. Did anybody notice that? Or is it me doing my thing? Yes, it was one of Diana's rings. You know, her engagement ring had some of Diana's diamonds in it, but that aquamarine ring, yes, had been Diana's. Very good. Hi, Beth. Good to see you. So, we yes. So when you check it for the third time, Sharon, have a look at that because that really was quite some. And I don't know why I never noticed it on Diana, but you sure was it stood out a mile on Megan's hand. So it was just like, wow. All right, so everybody obviously enjoyed it. How many of you hope that I really think that they are going to do such a lot of good in the world. That is my sense. I don't know about the rest of you. I think, yeah, that was a Stella McCarthy number, Jody, that dress she was wearing when they got in the Jag. That was her sort of, yeah. So we know that she is going to continue to be a fashion guru. That's pretty obvious. And it's pretty obvious that every major fashion designer in the world will be clamoring to dress her. So, we sort of got that one worked out already. uh, oh my gosh, that's very kind of you to say that. Okay, so you're saying that we should be checking you out as well? Is that why you're saying that? Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing the little things that Harry did that made you realize he was just, this isn't just a wedding. He is absolutely smitten by her. I got a sense that the very ground on which she walks is hallow for him. And as I said, I have a feeling that that she reminds him of Diana in many ways. Through her strength, through her commitment to causes, to lots of things. So, for me, this is like I think there's a real connection there, but at that level for him. Okay, no problem. Thank you, Mama. All right, so let's move on to the other part of our program now that sort of people are here. I want you to find out if you can, and Jody, let's redo the time now at 44, 45, 44, 45. I want you to find out what is the most difficult thing to clean in your life. If you go, What do I have the most difficulty cleaning? What would you say it is? I was trying to think just as I asked that question. For me, I think it's my car because I'm very bad about going out there and cleaning my car. And I had to have some work done on it recently, and I was quite embarrassed because I thought, this really is quite embarrassing. But I still haven't been out to do anything about it. So, oh, Beth, I wanted to check. I know that you started yoga. Did you end up continuing to not smoke? I just don't want to put you in a position here. The bathtub, I wondered about that. Okay, Jonas, go for it. So you still haven't had a cigarette? That is awesome. Very proud of you. How many days is that? Okay, so were you wearing the patch? And what made you take a cigarette? So we'll give you that as a freebie. That is amazing. Keep track of how many days. It's really important. Anything that has cotton, if you want to shrink it, hot water will do it. But only to a certain extent. Okay, so that's interesting. Somebody says cleaning stickers off my walker. Do you have any WD-40? Jonas, I don't know another way. Maybe buy a smaller pair. Might be the only answer. All right, so yeah, and that's WD-40 has that same sort of property, right? Because it's the what do you call it? The alcohol in it that allows that to happen. So anything gooby gone, but if you don't have gooby gone and you've got WD-40, it works really well. But you're talking about yes, so therefore maybe have somebody else do it for you. Yeah. So my feeling is if you're emotionally attached and that's why you can't do it, ask a friend or a family member or whatever if they could do it for you and explain, I just got a real emotional attachment to those things, but they have to come off. So do it the easier way, if you get my drift. I quite often do that if I've got something that I'm struggling with because of emotions. I'll have a friend come and help me. Yeah. Yeah, ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not one of weakness. So I literally, I do it all the time. I'll phone up a friend and say, listen, I'm having a real problem with X because I'm emotionally triggered by it. Could you come help me? Yeah, it'd probably take about 5 minutes. And they will come over and help me. Yeah, friends are good like that. So let me first of all start then by asking, how do you all clean your bathtubs? That makes it easy. And what do you use? That would be my question. I use two things. I use as you know, I use vinegar and water as a cleaning product for almost everything. But I also have a long-handled, uh, like it's like a giant scrubby thing. All right, long-handled one. so you don't have to bend or anything. So I just go squidge, squidge, rub, rub, squidge, squidge, rub, rub, and that does a really good job. Now, if you do any of you have a jetted tub? Yeah, Jody does it the way that I've done mine a couple of times, which is she sprays the whole thing with scrubbing bubbles, let it sit for a while, and then just rinse it. If you can bring down your shower attachment and rinse it with that, that's great. Scrubbing bubbles does a good job. You use industrial cleaner. Chip, why do I laugh about that? It's like, really? Does it get that dirty? That's cute. Now, I've got a trick if any of you got a jetted tub. So anybody got one of those? Okay, so let's move on. So everybody now knows how to clean the tub. Question. Oh, how do you clean your kitchen sink? But is it called industrial cleaner, Chip, or is it called something else? How many of you use okay, this is for cleaning your stainless steel sink or barkeeper's friend. How many of you have barkeeper's friend in your house? I actually don't have it, but I hear great stories about it for cleaning the bottom of stainless steel pans and things. All right, so let me think. Again, I spritz mine with vinegar and soap water. I find wiping it out every night helps a great deal. The other thing I found works really well is if you've got dishwashing powder. Do any of you have loose dishwashing powder? Not just the tablets, but loose stuff. It's a really good thing just to sprinkle some of that, and it does a really good job. Scrub with baking soda. Yes, I think that's the same sort of thing, that you scrub it with the baking soda first. I use uh, granules of dishwashing soap, same sort of thing, and just wipe it with a lemon. Cut the lemon in half and then scrub it around. How do you clean your? Do any of you have carburetors? How do you keep your carburetor clean? By the way, I asked my friend the realtor how they clean for open houses and things, and she was saying the same thing, but she said, funnily enough, an SOS pad is probably still the best thing to use to really get it clean and really get a shine on it. That's interesting. So, do any of you have carburetors? Is that what they're called in the States? No? Okay. All right. So just in case you come across one, I find what I do is whenever I cut a lemon, I think some of you know I cut up my lemons and freeze them. I slice them up and then I freeze them. So all I will do is I'll take the ends of lemons every now and then. I'll take out one end of it and I'll throw it in my carburetor and then churn it up because the lemon helps break down the grease around the carburetor. So that's just a thought. Okay. How do you clean? Do any of you have any stainless steel appliances at all in your kitchen? Be that the big ones or even the toaster oven or, I mean, a garbage disposal. You're quite right, Erin. We call it a carburetor here. We're foreign, right? Garbage disposal machine, yes, that's what it is. Um, I don't know why we call it a carburetor, but yeah. So do any of you have any stainless steel appliances in your kitchen? Could be your toaster oven, could be your kettle, could be your fridge, your oven, whatever. And if so, how do you clean it? Hi, Kerry, good to see you. And hi, Mike, if he's with you. So, stainless steel. Anybody got any quick tips on stainless steel? I'll let you know mine after everybody else has had a chance, but hi, Mike, good to see you. Welcome. And thank you for making Kerry smile so much. We love it. She deserves that. Yeah. All right. Nobody? No bright ideas about stainless steel? Ah, okay. So, in case you end up with some, first of all, to just obviously basically clean it to start with, I will just put it on a tea towel or something and spritz whatever I've got down with or vinegar and water. But the really good way to clean stainless steel and give it that shine back again, please don't overdo this. Just put a small amount of cooking oil on a paper towel. I'm not talking about glug, glug, glug. I mean, just a couple of drops of cooking oil on a paper towel and rub your stainless steel with that. It'll take off the finger marks and it will actually keep your finger marks free for quite a while. So Max's dad says barkeeper's friend soft cleanser for stainless steel, porcelain, ceramic, tile, and copper. Yes, barkeeper's friend is really good for those sort of things as well. So, but what I found is, just literally wash it down with some soap and water, or just use a little bit of. I like to use vinegar and water because that has an antiseptic quality to it. And what I found is that just a little bit of olive oil on a paper towel will take away the finger marks if you've got them. Just go with the pattern of your stainless. If your stainless steel has got what do you call it? That brushed look to it. Just go with the brush strokes, and that'll fill it all in beautifully. So just a good thought. All right, presumably everybody's got a computer. How do you clean your computer? And I'm thinking, first of all, how do you clean your keyboard? Let's start there. How many of you use compressed air? Oh, that's interesting. Know what Mum knows? She says she uses a dry paintbrush. Very good idea. Jody uses wet wipes. Sharon uses clean air. It depends what sort of keyboard you've got. If you've got one where you can do it, do you know that taking a Post-it note with the sticky side down and then just running it along the keyboard will pick up an awful lot of gunge on both sides. Have any of you ever tried that? Now, my keyboard here doesn't have that gap in it where you can do it. My laptop. But my old one used to. Actually, I can. I can do it around here, I think. It's got a little area where I could do it. See if it's not quite big enough, which is a good thing. Yeah, it actually works really well, Jody. If you can, unfortunately, I've got the wrong keyboard in front of me to show you, but it does work well. All right. Now, how do you clean your screen? Oh, Beth says she uses a toothbrush. Okay, that's good too. Yeah, I must admit I use an air gun. I mean, compressed air, and if I've got the other keyboard with me, I get the bits out. How many do any of you hold it upside down and just shake it? So like All right, so Jody says she cleans her screen with anti-static wipe. What do I do with mine? I use a little spritz of rubbing alcohol um, on a wet wipe. That's interesting because I also use a wet wipe type thing. So Erin turns it upside down and then uses the compressed air once it's upside down. That's actually quite clever. I don't know about you, but I get horrified at what comes out of there when you do that compressed air thing. I'm good. But apparently all our skin cells fall in there. That's part of the problem. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were a designer of laptops and things, I would specially design laptops to have, like they do in toaster ovens where you can pull the tray out underneath and then, empty out the gunge and then put the tray back in again. How many of you would really like that facility? I want a little drawer I can pull out so I can get rid of all the dead skin cells and eyelashes and everything else that's, and maybe a couple of crackers that got in there. Maybe we should have that suggestion to the laptop manufacturers. Wouldn't that be a great idea? You see, it's a Sal thing. It's like, no, okay, how would I fix that problem? So that everything just shakes down. You just go a bit like this. Oh, sorry, everybody. I hope I didn't make you sick there. And then you just pull down the tray and go, thank you, done. Okay, no problem. Good to see you there, Mom. All right, so we've got the computer done. Anybody got any fancy things about the toilets? Because I gather a lot of people don't particularly get an erotic experience from cleaning those. So, has anybody tried putting vinegar in the toilet water container thing? Canister? No. What's the word? You know what I mean? The bit you lean against. There's a word for it that I can't think of. Tank. That's the word. I got there. Just took a while. Yeah, I heard somewhere that you can actually put a little bit of vinegar in there will help disinfect it. Just put it in, leave it in there for about 10 minutes or so, and then flush it. So the actual toilet itself, how do you all clean your toilets? Regardless of whether you like it or not, how do you do it? And do you all know that a toilet brush is a really good plunger if you need one? Literally, you just go boom, 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 boom about 6 times. Hi, Nada. Yeah, that's very clever. A good way to, for those of you who are listening on the replay, Jody says a really good way to clean the toilets is get somebody else to do it. Okay, so Chip's saying she loves Simple Green and uses a wet wipe to disinfect the exterior as well. Yeah, I must admit, I use Comet on the inside of the bowl. I wash it all with the toilet brush, but I make sure that I wiggle the toilet brush on the underside of the rim because I want the bristles to go up into those nozzles. Do you know what I'm saying? Where the water comes in. Isn't it amazing how dirty they get? Beth just uses bleach. Okay. Awesome. So, yeah, I use Comet with bleach. That must admit I do that. The other thing is if you've got a toilet that you don't use very much, I like using that liquid stuff and then just leaving it there for a day. No toilet talk, right? Yeah, bleach is the ultimate disinfectant, yes. But funny enough, for some reason, I don't like using bleach too much. So, I try and do it a different way. But that's interesting to know. Good stuff, people. I'm very impressed. By the way, if you are new to the program and would like us to keep you informed, please make sure that you click the bell on YouTube, and that will tell you when we're next broadcasting. Or follow us, that's Dear Mama Sal, on Facebook and on Twitter, because I always put up warnings to let you know that we're about to do a broadcast, and that sort of helps. By the way, how many of you wait for the broadcast reminders? Are we doing it in a way that works for you? Way to go. So Nada went walking this week. I'm going to add it onto my notes ready for the next time. I was asking if anybody had got any congratulations stuff. Okay, so you're on the list now. And how did you feel? I'm very proud of you that you did it. All right, as I was saying, for those of you who are watching or ghosting, thank you so much for doing so. And make sure that you follow us where you can. Now, I've got a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. Ah, now that's great to know, really. I am really pleased about that. I found that if I go back to walking, I feel much better about it. It just releases all the right things, and I don't have really very much of an excuse at this time of the year. I'm just thinking, um, I'm getting a lot more steps in these days because I'm, busy downsizing. So I just want to let you know that I went to go and look at a property yesterday that was really quite traumatic for me. um, and it just, it was interesting because it checked all the boxes on my list. You know what I mean? It was incredibly light and airy inside. It had been totally remodeled. Not totally, no. 3/4 remodeled. It was just clean as a pin. You name it. It was move-in ready, and the only thing is if you got really fussy, you'd probably redo the bathrooms. And I'm probably gonna shock you all by telling you that I'm not gonna take it. Even though I was ready to buy it yesterday, I'm not gonna take it. And the reason is because they want a very short turnaround time. We are now mid-May, and they wanted to leave at the end of June. They wanted to complete everything at the end of June. Now, some of you are saying, well, it's doable, it's doable. If you really got down to it, Sal, you could really clean up your place in a hurry, and you could do this and you could do that. And here is my issue. My issue is if I don't complete in time, I lose $13,000. Can you afford to lose $13,000 in the hope that you can complete in time? Do any of you understand? Because that's the deposit I'd have to put down is $13,000. Now, there's another point. This was a property, it's a mobile home, and really nice big mobile home, all redone, but you don't own the land. So I don't know about you, but paying over $250,000 for a mobile home where you don't own the land, how many of you would be comfortable at doing that? Yeah. So you understand, although it clicked all the boxes on my list, it was just like I would not feel secure. I'd be very happy in the place, but I would not feel secure. Plus, as Jody so rightly has just said, I could get ill from the stress of trying to complete it. So my realtor's coming over tomorrow. We're going to have a whole different discussion tomorrow, and I'm also going to bring Yvonne into the discussion because what I want all three of us to be is on the same page, where we agree. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the house first. I'm going to sell the house. And then I will know how much money I have to play with. And everybody's saying, oh, you don't want to move twice and you don't want to do this and you don't want to do that. But sometimes putting the stuff into storage while you look and find a nice place is actually less stressful to do. Do any of you relate to what I'm saying? The other thing is you're probably thinking, but where am I going to live between selling the house and whatever? I've got a very nice trailer outside. So I can go and park my trailer somewhere for a couple of months. And yeah, you see, this is the other thing. And I said this to my realtor. I understand that property that I saw yesterday will sell in a heartbeat. I understand that. It'll be gone by Tuesday at the latest. The reason it'll wait until Tuesday is that's when they're looking at the offers. So I am pretty sure it will sell on Tuesday. Now, there's part of me that goes, I don't know if any of you relate to this one. There's part of me that goes, if I'm really meant to have it, then by the time I've sold my house and I'm looking, if it's still available, I might rethink it because it was pretty. So you have to move to a property that's been rezoned. Right. Are you renting? So I just wanted to talk about that because, hi, Roseanne. I hope you had a very happy birthday a few weeks ago. Yes, I've heard of a tiny home, but Roseanne, I think I would go insane in a tiny home. I've got one. It's called my trailer. Um, so I have to say that a tiny home for me, I can do it short term, but I don't think I could live in long term because I'm a creative person. You know what I mean? I'm an artist. I like crafts and things. So a tiny home doesn't have enough room for me. Plus, I'm a little old to be climbing up stairs and things. Yes, a tinier home is what you're saying, which is what a mobile home is. Which is why I was looking at mobile homes. But now I'm going to start looking. I'm going to start looking for a trailer where either you own the land or you have shares in the value of the land. In other words, so if it does sell. Now, I'm also aware of the fact you can actually take a mobile home and move it. You can take almost any home and move it. Well, good to meet you that you're listening. Welcome. Big hugs to you and thank you for being there. Yeah, I'm not quite handicap accessible requirement yet at the moment. So, but I do know that a lot of them actually are um, bought by people who have those issues. So, Escape, good to meet you. So, I look at it and go, I really want to rethink this. The other thing was this one that I saw was only 2 bedrooms, but the layout of that was so good. They'd obviously gutted the thing, at least half of it they'd gutted and completely built the layout. And it was such a clever layout that I loved it. But as I said, there's no way I want the stress of trying to be out of here sold. You see, how many times can a sale fall through at the last moment? So I'm not prepared to take that risk because if I do, I'm just going to say goodbye to 13,000 right there. And I am sad to tell you, I can't afford to do that. It's just like I can't afford just to lose 13,000. I would rather get the house sold and know what I'm dealing with. So, anything I do has to be subject to the sale of my home. And if they don't like that, that's fine. So be it. So, but this is the thing I wanted to say to you. How many of you can understand the chaos my mind has been in while I've been trying to weigh all those things up and down for the last 24 hours? And what happens when you go looking at houses? You realize the things you thought were really important suddenly aren't. It really is quite interesting. Um, have you, one of the things that I have done is to say to myself, what am I really going to miss when I move? And I know it sounds really strange. I'm going to miss my, ridiculously huge freezer. You sort of open it up. It's one of those French door things, and you open it up and you're waiting for the orchestra to start because it is, the lights come on and it is just a huge thing. And the deep freeze in it has 3 different levels to give you some idea. Um, the other thing I realized I was going to miss, and I think it's really strange, but I realized that was my 2 wash hand basins, the one in my 2 bathrooms. In my private bathroom, I have a waterfall type sink. Some of you have seen it in the movies that I've done, the vlogs. But I've got one of those waterfall, you push the lever up and this waterfall comes down. Now, really, who needs that in there? I do. you know. And in my guest bathroom, I have this incredible oval sink that's about this wide, right? And it's like a baby's bath almost. It's so pretty. And I remember when I picked it out, somebody said to me, "Oh, that's too big for the room." I said, "No, that's not too big for the room. That is a sink that 99.9% of people are going to take one look at and go, wow." Um, and the funny thing is, my contractor, being a man, wanted me to put a black sink in there. And I said, I will not put a black sink in. Women buy houses. And any woman will tell you, you don't want a black sink. You know? What is it with men in black, right? Um, Yeah, Neda, I want to tell you something. You have our full sympathy about moving, and perhaps we can make a note of that as well, Jody. Yes, and Beth, that's interesting that you could say that. Yes, and then I went, okay, how much does it cost for me to get those 2 sinks back if I really want them? And it's not maybe $500, I guess. Plus whatever it costs me to get them installed. So yeah, sinks are very easy to put in. My very big fridge is about 7,000. That's not what you might call a cheap fridge. Um, the the other thing I thought I would miss, I don't know if any of you know this. I've got a double layer stove. My stove is a beautiful LG stove. It's infrared, first of all. How many of you going, yay, would like that? Infrared, so when you want to grill something, it's unbelievable. But it's lined in blue ceramic. And so when you open it up, it's not black, it's blue. Um, Nada, it's our pleasure to be here. And I'm going to need you, so you stick around. So I really like that. The fact, and by the way, it's 2 different ovens. The bottom one is a big convection oven, and the top one is about this big, and it's a smaller oven. And I use the top one all the time. I hardly ever use the big one. Uh, but again, I could take it with me, but who doesn't want one? So I would sell it with the house. It's another wow factor with the house. I think when you start taking the wow factor out, that's sad because the very things people are going to go, wow, I want that, the things you want to leave.
Yeah, I want to tell you something, Sharon. I spent a lot of money on the oven and a lot of money on the fridge, and I have never regretted it. Do you know what I mean? And I also spent good money on the washer dryer. Yeah, I think the things that you use every day, are things that if you're going to put them in, put. Now, I tell you what I did pay next to nothing for. I bought I bought a toaster oven that's big enough you can put a full casserole dish in it. Do any of you know what I'm talking about? It's not a regular toaster oven. It is deeper. It has yeah, that fridge needs an Instagram account. I agree with you, Jody. Do you guys want to see it? I mean, it's not clean, but if you'd like to see it, I'll gladly show you. Um, okay, hang on. If I disconnect everything, forgive me. I'm going to try not to. Hang